Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Movement Radio. I am Chip Hazard, and today, man, it's Thursday, and I've got something special just for you. So, as you know, Daredevil isn't just Marvel's blind lawyer by day and vigilante by night. He's a character who's been torn apart, rebuilt, reinvented, and redefined more times than almost any other hero in comics. Every generation of readers has their devil, and today we're going to count down the 10 best Daredevil stories that redefined the man without fear. From gritty noir crime sagas to swashbuckling adventures and shocking identity reveals. These are the stories that took Daredevil from just another street level hero to one of Marvel's most iconic characters. So let's dive right in. First, we're going to talk about Daredevil by Mark Waid and Chris Samney from 2011 to 2015. So after decades of dark, brooding Daredevil stories, Mark Waid and Chris Samney did something bold. They brought hope back into Matt Murdock's world. This run redefined him not as a man constantly crushed under tragedy, but as someone who embraces life despite it with a more adventurous, swashbuckling tone and clean, dynamic art. Waid reminded readers that Daredevil could be fun, witty, and even optimistic. It was a complete tonal shift, and it worked, showing that the man without fear could be just as compelling outside the shadows. And then we have Shadowland by Andy Diggle and Billy Tan from 2010. So sometimes you redefine a character, you have to let them fall. Shadowland was a controversial event, but it pushed Daredevil into dark territory we had never seen before. After taking control of the Hand, Matt Murdock transforms Hell's Kitchen into a fortress of justice, but at a terrible cost. Corrupted by power, Daredevil becomes the villain of his own story, forcing other heroes to step in. While divisive, Shadowland proved that Daredevil could walk the fine line between hero and anti hero and still keep fans talking years later. And then we have The Devil in Cell Block D by Ed Brubaker and Michael Lark from 2006. So, right after Brian Michael Bendis' iconic run ended, Ed Brubaker dropped Matt Murdock into his worst nightmare, prison. Surrounded by enemies he put away, Daredevil is forced to survive inside the very system he once defended as a lawyer. This arc feels like a high stakes crime drama, brutal, intense, and cinematic. Brubaker's noir sensibility and Lark's gritty art make this one of Daredevil's most unforgettable stories. It redefined him by stripping away the mask and showing that Matt Murdock is willing to endure to keep fighting. And then we have The Murdoch Papers by the aforementioned Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev from 2006, serving as the climax of Bendis and Maleev's legendary run. The Murdoch Papers is Daredevil at the edge of collapse with the FBI, Kingpin, and half of New York's criminal underworld closing in. Matt faces impossible odds in a story dripping with paranoia and tension. This was Bendis's mic drop moment on the character, redefining Daredevil as someone whose identity and morality were constantly under siege. It's not just a Daredevil story, it's a masterclass in street level Marvel storytelling. And then there's Out, also by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev from 2002. One of the boldest moves Marvel ever made was outing Daredevil's secret identity to the public. In Out, a tabloid exposes Matt Murdock as Daredevil, and suddenly his life, both as a lawyer and a hero, spirals into chaos. This story redefined Daredevil by making secrecy impossible. For years afterwards, every writer had to deal with the fallout. It forced Daredevil into new territory and gave fans one of the most shocking twists in superhero comics. Next is it's kind of a two-parter. Underboss and Lowlife, also by Bendis and Maleev from 2001 to 2006. The Bendis Maleev run defined Daredevil for the 2000s, and it began with Underboss and Lowlife. In these arcs, the Kingpin is taken out by a new generation of mobsters, and Daredevil finds himself pulled deeper into the criminal underworld than ever before. This wasn't just superheroics, it was gritty, street level noir that blurred the lines between crime comics and capes. With Matt eventually crowned as the new kingpin of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil was forever changed. This is where his modern reputation as Marvel's greatest noir hero truly began. And then there's Parts of a Whole by David Mack and Joe Quesada from 1999. David Mack and Joe Quesada introduced a brand new character who would become a major figure in Marvel's future. Echo, also known as Maya Lopez. This arc isn't just about Daredevil fighting a new enemy. It's about how storytelling and art can redefine a comic. Mack's experimental narrative style and Quesada's striking visuals made Parts of a Whole stand out as a bold reinvention of how Daredevil stories could be told. Plus, it gave us Echo, who's now a central figure in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then there's Guardian Devil by Kevin Smith and Joe Quesada from 1998. When Marvel launched the Marvel Knights imprint, they needed a story to prove that the line mattered. Enter Kevin Smith and Joe Quesada. They delivered us Guardian Devil, a dark and emotional tale where Daredevil faces tragedy, faith, and manipulation from one of Spider-Man's classic villains, Mysterio. This arc pulled no punches, redefining Daredevil for a new generation and proving he belonged at the center of Marvel's best storytelling. It was bold, controversial, and unforgettable. Then there's The Man Without Fear from Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. from 1993. Frank Miller had already transformed Daredevil once, but with The Man Without Fear, he and John Romita Jr. gave us the definitive modern origin story. This miniseries re-explores Matt's early years, his training with Stick, and his first encounter with Elektra and Kingpin. It's cinematic, brutal, and perfectly encapsulates what makes Daredevil one of Marvel's most enduring heroes. To this day, adaptations like the Netflix series borrow heavily from this reimagining of Matt Murdock's beginnings. And finally, Born Again by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli from 1986. When people talk about the greatest Daredevil story ever told, one title rises to the top, and that's Born Again. In this arc, the Kingpin learns Daredevil's secret identity and dismantles Matt's entire life, stripping away his career, his friends, even his sanity. What follows is a brutal tale of destruction and rebirth, perfectly illustrated by Mazzucchelli. Born Again redefined Daredevil as Marvel's ultimate comeback hero, someone who can lose everything and still rise from the ashes. It's the blueprint for every great Daredevil story that followed. So there you have it, the 10 best Daredevil stories that redefined the man without fear. From Frank Miller's noir reinventions to Mark Waid's swashbuckling optimism, Daredevil has proven time and time again that he's one of Marvel's richest, most versatile characters. But now I want to hear from you. What's your favorite Daredevil story? Was it Miller's Born Again, Wade's Lighter Touch, or was it Chip Zdarsky's modern masterpiece? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell to get notified so you never miss out on one more comic book deep dive. Until next time, I am Chip Hazard. This is Movement Radio. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.